Have you ever given everything to people who wouldn't even open the door for you? Have you ever shown up year after year, hoping for just one moment of warmth, and got silence instead? I'm Caleb Morrow, and this isn't just a story, it's a reckoning, one born in cold rejection and ended in fire. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, stay with me. Because what I did next didn't just change my life. It ended a cycle I should have broken years ago. It started with a key, cold brass, familiar weight. I found it in the bottom of a drawer while looking for something else, anything to distract me from the email that had just shattered me. 6 words. That's all it took to turn 34 years of loyalty into smoke. You're not welcome home this year. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was from my father. No call, no explanation, just that. I hadn't even unpacked from my last job. I'd just come back to Crestwood, holed up in a drafty walk-up apartment that smelled like old paper and burnt toast. After 10 brutal years as a deep-sea welder, diving into pitch-black nothing, dodging death with every weld, I had nothing to show for it except a busted shoulder and a bank account I'd quietly drained to help the very people who just, cast me out. I craved a couch, a plate of food, a look. We missed you. Instead, I got exile. I waited. Maybe Mom would text. Maybe Finn, my younger brother, would call. But no, they didn't forget me. They erased me. That night, I sat on my thrift store couch, a single strand of Christmas lights flickering across the window, the blinking red and green like a failing heartbeat. I cracked open a bottle of bourbon, raised a glass to no one, and I typed back 2 words. I understand, but I didn't. Not then. What I felt wasn't sadness. It was colder, sharper. It was the sound of something breaking free. 6 days passed. On the 6th night, I finally turned. My phone back on. 14 notifications, 2 missed calls from Finn, 3 texts from my mother, 4 from Roland, and 1 voicemail from a lawyer named Marcus Reed. But by that time, I'd already found it. The spark. Let me rewind. I was 18 when I left, not chasing dreams, running. Roland's love was a lecture, praise wrapped in ridicule. Don't mess this up, Caleb. That was his version of encouragement. Iris, my mother, was the queen of excuses. He's just tired, love. Always brushing the bruises under a rug of silence. Finn, he learned early to survive by ducking, by agreeing, by staying small. But I never could. So I left. I got on a bus to Galveston and took a job no one wanted. Deep-sea welding. Dangerous, brutal, lonely. But it paid, and I was good at it. Really good. I moved up fast. And when their roof collapsed, in a storm, I wired money. When their fridge died, I bought a new one. When Christmas came around, I flew in. Sat at the table like a hired contractor waiting for someone to say, thank you. They never did. Roland would say, check the furnace, Caleb. Iris stirred soup. Finn typed on his laptop. I was a tool, not a son. But I kept showing up because I wanted it to mean something. I wanted to believe I still belonged. Then came this year. I was done. My body couldn't take another dive. My soul was tired. I bought a train ticket, packed my best sweater. I even wrapped a bottle of whiskey for Roland. I thought maybe this year. Then the email hit. Not just. Cold, icy, final. You're not welcome. I tried to sleep that night, but the storm in my chest wouldn't stop. So I dug through my files, old contracts, tax returns, and there it was. A PDF. A loan Roland had taken out to save their house 7 years ago. His credit was shot. He needed a co-signer. Just a formality, Caleb, he'd said. I was 27, home on shore leave, hungry for approval. I signed it without reading. But this time, I did read it. And that's when I found the clause. My signature gave me 51% ownership of the house, the family home, the one they just told me I wasn't welcome in. They didn't. They know. But I did now. The next morning, I called Nate, a lawyer friend I met years back at a trade expo in Alaska. Hypothetically, I said, if someone owns 51% of a house and the other party says he's no longer family? Nate laughed. You're the boss. They don't get to make rules anymore. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I sat down and wrote an email. Effective immediately, I, Caleb Morrow, am asserting legal control as majority owner of 19 Pine Hollow Road. All property matters will now be handled through my attorney. I hit send. Then I booked a remote cabin in the Adirondacks for Christmas. No tree. No lights. Just snow and peace. 6 days later, the flood came. Finn's message was panicked. Caleb, what the hell is going on? Dad's losing it. Call me. I didn't. Roland's voice came next, low and furious. You think you can steal my house? House. I deleted the message halfway through. Then Marcus Reed, their lawyer, chimed in, slick and polished. Mr. Morrow, let's not escalate. We're open to negotiation. I stayed silent. This wasn't revenge. This was revelation. For years, I'd been their safety net, their emergency fund, their backup plan. And still not welcome. Now they could deal with what that really meant. Christmas morning, my phone rang again. It was Iris. Caleb, she said, her voice trembling like glass. Please. Roland's not well. Finn's devastated. Can we talk? I watched, the fire crackle in the hearth. Iris, I said, do you remember my 26th birthday? Silence. I was off the coast of Newfoundland. A pipe exploded, almost crushed my chest. I called you from the rig infirmary. I can't remember, she stammered. I nodded to myself. You said, don't worry, Roland. He's always been dramatic. She wept, but I was past weeping. That same day, my property manager, another old rig friend who now ran his own inspection firm, visited the house. He found more than rot. They'd been renting out rooms. The attic, the guest bedroom to strangers, no lease, just cash, no paper trail. They turned my childhood home into a motel for drifters, while telling me I wasn't family. He called me at dusk. Caleb, it's bad. They were furious, but we stayed professional. And yeah, there are tenants, no records. One guy even tried to slip out the back door. Document everything, I told him. Every broken pipe, every name, every lie. That night, I wrote my final message. As of January 3rd, all unauthorized tenants must vacate. You have 30 days to sign a legal lease or leave. This property is under review for multiple violations. Caleb Morrow, former deep-sea welder, legal owner. Then I texted Finn. Check your email. On January 3rd, I drove up to 19 Pine Hollow Road. Not to fight, to finish. I brought my property manager, a locksmith, and a binder of documents with one truth written all over them. This house was never theirs. It was mine. Roland flung the door open before I even reached the porch. You're not taking my home! He shouted, his face red, veins bulging. I walked past him, calm, confident. Inside, everything was smaller than I remembered, duller. The shine I used to chase was gone. Iris clutched a shawl. Her eyes were swollen. Finn sat at the kitchen table, looking like a boy again. I said one sentence. This isn't your house anymore. They didn't speak. You have 30 days. Sign a lease. Or leave. Roland lunged, fists clenched. My manager stepped between us. I didn't blink. I'd stared down the black depths of the Atlantic. Their anger didn't scare me. When I walked out, the snow whipped across my face like a baptism. I was lighter. Not because I'd won, but because I'd stopped bleeding for people who never even offered a bandage. They didn't lose a son. They never accepted one. And I found my freedom. That house? It was never home. Not really. Home is where you're seen, where love doesn't come with receipts. I found home in the fire I built alone, in the scars I earned under pressure, in the silence I finally filled with truth. If you've ever had to walk away from the ones who should have loved you most, I see you. You're not alone. Drop a comment. Tell your story. And if this hits somewhere deep, subscribe. Because we need to keep telling the truths that others bury. The kind that burn through the silence. I'm Caleb Morrow, and I'm done being invisible.